So the Jaguars are currently 0-5 on the season, and whenever a team goes through losing streaks like this, fingers kind of get pointed on where to blame. And a lot of these different fingers are kind of laying on Urban Meyer. And a lot of people, especially after last night where John Gruden, some allegations came out and, some things kind of came out true through email about him basically offending different races and, being gender phobic and being homophobic as well. And that later led to him kind of resigning, which obviously that was the right thing to do. There's really no room for that kind of stuff in the NFL. But when this came out, I'm on Twitter and everyone's like, all right, Urban Meyer next, Urban Meyer next, Urban Meyer next. And I'm a kind of guy that I wanted Urban Meyer to be the head coach of the Jaguars. I was kind of rooting for him because of his success, and we can kind of go through all the different things. But I wanted him as a head coach. I'm not going to lie. And like my personal opinion on the Urban Meyer situation and like where I am with Urban Meyer now, I'm losing confidence in him. I definitely am. I'm going to say this. Urban Meyer should not be fired right now. And for a couple reasons. One, what does that do? Firing Urban Meyer, what does it do? Is it going to improve our team? Is all of a sudden, okay, Darrell Bevell, go lead this team. Charlie Strong, go lead this team. There's no clear person that we're going to put in charge that's going to turn this thing around. So, I don't understand. And also, the when you look at it, the Jaguars, if they were to fire Urban Meyer, a guy that's 0-5 on a rebuilding team, and we say, all right, we're going to go out and find the next guy. What head coach is going to want to touch a team that fired a head coach through 5 games in a rebuild? The optics just aren't good for that. You know what I mean? If anything happens, let Urban Meyer play out the season, and at the end of the year, they're going to have a discussion with Shad Khan, and, Urban Meyer's going to have a discussion, and then they're going to come out with a way okay, are you in this? Do you want to do this? How was your first year? And if Urban Meyer doesn't want to do it anymore, or even if Shad Khan doesn't want him to stay, just have Urban Meyer voluntarily resign. Kind of like John Gruden. John Gruden resigned, but we all know, look, you had to step away. That's kind of what has to happen. You have to kind of go and kind of do it that way. But one thing about that I've really learned as I've gotten older, I'm 27 now, and really just these past couple years and through a couple of elections and just different things involved in the world is that people are very, very easily brainwashed by what the media feeds them. You know what I mean? And let's just say this, when the Jaguars locked up Trevor Lawrence in December, nobody in the national media was happy. Everybody was saying, Zach Wilson is better. Trevor Lawrence shouldn't go here. Oh, will the Jaguars trade back? Oh, Urban Meyer, he's a Ohio State guy. Maybe he takes Justin Fields. They were doing everything they can to make it to seem where, okay, Trevor Lawrence, how can we get him out of Jacksonville? And ultimately, we all laughed at them. We all said, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Trevor Lawrence is coming here. This is going to happen. And now those same exact guys are sitting here saying, fire Urban Meyer. Fire Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer needs to be fired, or come out with articles and stuff like that. And now everybody's like, yeah, Urban Meyer needs to get fired. They're kind of back on that train of he needs to be out of here. But it's dude, we are, going against, we're joining the enemies that we've been fighting against for so long. The national media and these guys, and even in some senses, the local media. There's a reason why Urban Meyer doesn't do things with the local media. The only thing he does is go through press conferences. He doesn't really come on 1010 Excel much. He doesn't have different, interviews with different local guys. He doesn't do that. He'll go on podcasts with different people what was it, Dan Patrick that he was on there with, and just a couple of other different guys that, guys that aren't going to throw his dirt in the name, or throw his name into the dirt, I should say. And, you can't really blame him. And then now the local media is also teaming up on him, saying that he needs to go, and people are just feeding into it. When I look at the Jaguars, outside of everything that's gone on this offseason when it comes to, because I haven't liked his press conferences. I don't like how sometimes he comes out there and just kind of sounds like an idiot and, doesn't, Trevor Lawrence and him are kind of contradicting each other, and, not knowing Miles Jack is best without the, green dot in the helmet. These different kind of things, I haven't necessarily liked, but I'm not going to go out there and be on the fire Urban Meyer train because of that. You know what I mean? And when I look at it, when I look at the 5 games that the Jaguars have played, when I look at those 5 games, I don't see a head coach that needs to be fired. What I see is I see a complete lack of talent, mostly on the defensive end of the ball. I mean, I don't know what Urban Meyer's supposed to do to get Chris Clayburs to cover a guy. You know, we just don't have the dudes there. And also some in-net play calling when it comes to what we do inside of the 10-yard line. Those are the main things that I think are holding this team back. And then obviously the cherry on top is this all different stuff where Urban Meyer body languages and press conferences. And I actually went back and looked. I was like, okay, I'm going to look at this guy at Ohio State. What did he look like after a win and after a loss in a press conference at Ohio State? And he looks the same exact way during a loss. I mean, he's defeated. He hates losing. And one big thing that Jets fans had to complain about Robert Saleh is he does not look like he looks the same after winning a loss. They're like, does this guy care? Does this guy give a crap that he's losing? You know what I mean? Where is the energy? Where is the passion? Urban Meyer has that. Urban Meyer clearly hates losing, pretty much as much as we all hate losing too. And, you know, you look at two sides of things. The teams that were pretty much projected to have the number 1 overall pick, the two favorite teams are teams that are currently 0-5 with the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I go over there and, you know, you see Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell's crying at his press conference. You know what I mean? I don't think Urban Meyer's ever going to go out there and cry, but, you know, these guys are equally passionate. They just kind of show it in different ways. And at the end of the day, these teams just lack talent. These teams are not built to win. You know what I mean? But you don't see the different articles about these different guys getting fired. It's all about, okay, how can we attack Jacksonville? How can we attack Urban Meyer in this way? Because obviously Urban Meyer isn't, I guess, the most popular name. Even when he was at Ohio State and Florida, when he was winning over there, like, people were trying to find kind of ways to bring him down. And I don't like the scandals that involve, you know, I don't like a lot of the stuff that Urban Meyer's done. I can admit that. I don't like a lot of the stuff. I'm not going to sit here and defend Urban Meyer. But me looking at it, I don't see what we gain from firing Urban Meyer at this point. I mean, what someone help me out. Like, what are we gaining? Okay, he's lost the locker room. Has he? The only people that have said he's lost their locker room is random, like Mike Silver, you know, these different random blue check marks that aren't in the locker room. I saw, you know, G. Hard Ward basically saying, look, we're good with Urban Meyer. Like, there's been way worse things that coaches have done. And, you know, Urban Meyer, he's learning a completely new team. He's learning a completely new league. I mean, there's huge growing pains involved with this. And, you know, it's, and I just think people are getting brainwashed by the fire Urban Meyer effect. It's like, dude, it's been 5 games and we're not a good roster. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe I'm doing too much defending. And look, I've been hard on this team. I've been extremely hard on this team. You guys see me. I've watched every game with you on Sunday. I get pissed off and everything. But I look back at the fact that, you know, the product that we're putting out on the field, we're not getting blown out every game. You know what I mean? And we played good opponents so far. Let's just play this thing out, see how Urban Meyer does, and, you know, maybe we can hopefully get some, you know, a few wins over here. It's not looking great right now, but the roster talent isn't great. You know what I mean? I would probably say our offense right now is probably overperforming. I mean, what do we have on the offensive end when it comes to playmakers? You know what I mean? Like, we lost DJ Chark. You know, Chenault's good, but he's not a game breaker. You know what I mean? What else? You know, we have Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, he's a rookie. James Robinson is great. You know, this offensive line is playing very good. I don't know. I just don't see why we need to fire Urban Meyer just yet. And it doesn't need to be a firing. It needs to be a resignation if it happens. You know what I mean? Then you don't have the bad optics of, oh, this guy got fired right now. Who would want to come to the Jaguars organization? You know, why would any of these top guys want to come to the Jags organization? Obviously, we have cap space. Obviously, we have Trevor Lawrence. But, you know, they're built a big task when it comes to, you know, changing this thing around. And, you know, I'm going to be critical of Urban Meyer. I think he needs to change a lot of things. I don't know what the culture is being built right. You know, he came in there and preached change a culture. You know, obviously, I think he needs to probably override Darrell Bevell when it comes to some of his play calls. I don't know. It's just things obviously need to change, but he doesn't need to be fired right now. I just don't see the upside, and also the optics of it are horrible. So that's all I got to say. Let me know what you guys think. Am I in the right? Am I in the wrong? I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely in a minority when it comes to my perspective on this, but I want to get it out and share with you guys why I would not fire Urban Meyer. Thank you guys for watching. Go Jags.